Hello, fellow truckers, and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. In the last episode, we were able to purchase the second of the Western Star trucks for our fleet, and I have come to pick up a bus that is going from Kansas City, Kansas to Clinton, Oklahoma. It's a 13-hour drive. That's about 418 miles, so it's feasible that we could possibly get this done in one episode. We'll see. Yeah, we should be able to get it done in one episode, especially if we can hurry up and get out of here and get this done. I have to say that the FOV, or this particular truck, the way that things are laid out is pretty annoying, if I'm honest with you. The mirrors and everything, for me to make it to where the left mirror is visible all the time, I have to pull my seat all the way back, and then I have to adjust my FOV almost all the way out before I'm able to keep the mirror in my left mirror, constantly in my view there. So I decided we're just going to go ahead and keep the FOV and the seat position the way it is here, because it allows me to see the dash really clearly, and I guess we only really need the mirrors if we're going to be turning, so it's not that big of a deal. There's a stop sign here, so we'll go ahead and do a stop and make a look left and look right, make sure we don't run out into anybody, and then hopefully... Did I go too far? They're all stopping for me. I didn't feel like I encroached into the lane there, but I guess maybe I did. I don't know. Also, the other thing about this particular truck is that because of the position of the in-dash GPS infotainment system, or whatever it is you want to call it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that right there is the kind of stuff that pisses me off about this game. I'm sorry. That is unreasonable. They really need to wait until the... until the things start coming down, because I had no idea that was even happening. That is super, super frustrating, to just run into an invisible wall that just suddenly appears in front of you. That's really, really annoying. All right, well, we're gonna try this. I was looking at my dash information, because the current cruise control setting actually appears on the digital dash on the outside ring on this truck, which is kind of cool. This is a very futuristic kind of truck, and I think it's kind of cool that the cruise control marker just appears on your dash like that, rather than just showing up as a number. I'm a big fan of consolidation of information and all that stuff, but just seeing a marker that just kind of shows up right there, I can just set it up to 75 or 65, and I can see it right there. So that's kind of nice. I think that's a really cool option. But yeah, that's one of the absolutely more irritating things about this game. Let me fix my camera position, because I totally forgot to readjust that to the center, and you guys can't see the GPS when I do that. So let's fix that now so that it's not a problem. And we'll start moving forward again. Hopefully, if we can get the truck to actually respond. Looks like we can be okay now. We'll start making our right turn, and then I guess we got to be super careful coming over here, because I don't know if there's still a train coming or what the deal is. But it's really annoying that that's the way that the game works. They really need to fix that. They need to have the lights turn on for a noticeable amount of time to give you time to slow down and stop, and not just have an invisible wall that just immediately pops up because there's a train coming. That's completely unreasonable. I'm sorry. I need you to move out of my way, dude. I need you to move out of my way. Thank you. Because we need to go up this side of the road, and I'm not trying to get turned around. Sorry. That's just the way it's going to be. So yeah, you'll be able to easily see what we have our cruise control setting set to, because it shows up on the dash in a very easy to read manner. It's going to be kind of weird, because I'm not used to looking for that. I'm used to looking for a number. It's bumping up to 55 there, so we'll go ahead and pop that up. But yeah, I like the technology in this truck. I'm just not a fan of the fact that the mirrors are so far off to the side, and that the dash is basically put into place where using my UI GPS or UI route advisor is just not nearly as feasible as it was in other trucks. It means I'm going to constantly, if I want to find out really how much distance we have left to go, I'm going to have to actually pull up the thing, which I know it's not that big of a deal. But it's, you know how it is when you have a bunch of annoying things that all kind of build up. It just turns into kind of a bad experience, and it might not. Each individual thing might not be that bad of an experience, but the overall experience ends up becoming bad because you're just like, I have to deal with all of these different things now. Ugh. So I don't know. I like the technology in the dash of this truck. I just wish the layout was a little bit, I don't know. To be perfectly honest with you, if I could just get a mod that would show the distance rather than the time, the estimated time remaining, I wouldn't even need the route advisor, the UI route advisor, because that's all I really want. Because the time aspect of this can be really misleading. The time will change depending on the conditions, and I want to see how much distance we have left. So, you know, that's what I want. That's what I want to see on my in-dash thing here. And you know, this is I think we actually get a better forward view of what's happening in front of us from this than we do in the route advisor, because of the fact that the position of the truck is at the very bottom. So it actually shows more ahead of us than the UI map typically does, but because it doesn't show the information that I want, that's just not as useful to me as I wish that it was. But this truck is forcing me into it because we're not gonna be able to see that route advisor with this route advisor up above us. So that is what it is. I'm also not sure what information I want on the dash, because it doesn't seem like any of the options that show up here are actually useful to me in any real way. Like, we have some temperature information for a couple of different options. There's fuel consumption on the right side, but it doesn't give me a range to empty as far as I can tell. And then this looks like it's the turbo, how much pressure the turbo's giving, so that's not particularly useful to me either. Oil level, I don't really care about because it's a game, and that's not really something that we're going to have to deal with. And I don't really care about trip information. So, you know, there's really no dash information that I care about. We can see the fuel tank over on the left side of the bottom of the dash, so at the very least we can very easily see what our fuel level is. That makes it pretty nice. Seeing information on my dash that I guess is giving me the current speed limit. That's kind of interesting. I'm not okay. We see the. All right, so that's the. I'm just trying to figure out what the items on the in-dash information is. I can see there is a speed limit sign that says 75, which is clearly based off of the in-dash information. I'm not sure why we need that duplicated in the dash, but I guess that's kind of a cool feature. We can see what gear we're in. It says economy. I'm not sure why it's in economy mode. I'm guessing that's the transmission setting, but I have the settings set in the game settings to be aggressive, so I don't know what that is. And I can't read whatever that, oh, that's probably the total miles at the very, very bottom there. It's 90 degrees outside. It's 2:19 in the afternoon. We are facing west, so it's nice to have an in-dash indicator of the direction there, so that's kind of cool. Battery, yeah, all right. I mean, I like the look of the truck, and I like this infotainment. I like this in-dash, like, digital dash system that's in here. I just wish that one of the options for the information in here was miles to empty. I know, you know, we can always just look at the fuel gauge and that's fine, but I don't know, there's something about just having a number there that says, oh, you have 100 miles left until you're out of fuel. That's a nice number to have. I end up being overly conservative when I don't have a number there. So that's the way that works for me. Let's hop out of the cab real quick and take a look at driving on the road. I still haven't figured out, I mean, I obviously haven't put any time into trying to figure it out, but I haven't figured out why my zoom has gone away as I run into these trucks, not realizing that there's a left turn. It's very difficult to try to drive while you're in an external view. I don't know why the zoom all of a sudden just will not zoom out past a certain point anymore. It's pretty annoying because I want to be able to get some really nice, decent shots for you guys, but it doesn't seem like that's an option anymore because it won't zoom out anymore. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Just took a quick look at the route advisor, and we're down to less than 300 miles, so we should be able to get this trip done. The payout for this was actually pretty decent. It's going to be like 30 grand for 400 miles, so that's actually a really good rate. I was able to grab that because it had a limited time to go pick it up, but we weren't that far away, so I was able to just kind of run over and grab it real quick. But yeah, we're going to be going into Oklahoma. It's going to be kind of cool. So I guess since I have nothing else to really talk about, I'll talk about a video I made on my other channel. I did start a second channel to kind of talk talk about various things that come up that I feel motivated to talk about. It's not a channel I really post on that consistently because I don't want to make it like, obviously I hope that it is something that grows into something that parallels this channel in just a different way. Obviously I want it to be something that, you know, I'm able to monetize, and you know, I want to get paid for putting my opinion out in the world. Why not? You know, if I can do that, if I want to try to do it. But right now it's a brand new channel. I think it barely has any subscribers at all. It's got a long way to go before it gets there. But I watched a Joe Rogan podcast yesterday, and they had Dave Smith and Douglas Murray on there, and I have to tell you, man, Douglas Murray got his ass handed to him because he was using bad logic and bad arguments, and like I will never get into the whole Israel versus Palestine thing. That's, you know, it doesn't really involve me. I don't really care about that situation pretty much at all. And, you know, the justifications and all of that stuff that everybody wants to get into about that whole thing, you know, I don't know. That's a discussion that people with more knowledgeable about that whole thing can get into. My issue with the whole thing was, and I stated this very clearly in my video, you should go check out that video if you're interested in more of the chatty kind of subjects, because I really focus on chatting on that channel. The thing that really just boggled my mind in that episode is just the really bad attitude that he has towards people who just want to talk about stuff. And then also just the fact that every time he got into an argument, every time one of his arguments didn't work, he tried to rather than standing on what he said, he just tried to shift tactics, because it seemed like he was more concerned about winning the argument than he was about having a reasonable discussion about the topic. And I'm like, you know, you said this one thing right now because it seemed to support what you were trying to say, but then, you know, not even a half hour later, you're almost saying the opposite of what you said earlier, because now this particular thing is like propping up what you're trying to say. And like, you got to be consistent with your arguments if you're going to make an argument. You can't be so focused on trying to make the other person look bad or win the argument or whatever it is that you're doing. You can't be so focused on that you're willing to chameleon yourself and chameleon your argument into whatever you need to make it to win, rather than just saying, this is what I think and this is why I think it. It's really important to be consistent when you're talking about things, because when you start flip-flopping around, nobody wants to listen to you anymore. And I used to listen to Douglas Murray a fair bit back when he was like really going, you know, on the anti-woke crusade and all that stuff, because, you know, I disagree with the idea of canceling people. I disagree with the idea of telling anybody that they have to shut up, or your opinion doesn't matter, you're part of this group that needs to be shut down. And like, that's a terrible way to try to run a free society. I'm sorry, it's just I disagree with that philosophy. And, you know, the things I saw from him seemed to line up with that, and he made a lot of very good points. And the thing is like, during the episode, he did make some very good points, and you know, you have to respect that. But at the same time, those good points that you make get completely canceled out when you start trying to use emotional tactics and all that kind of stuff. Like, you have to stick with facts. You have to stick with logical arguments. You have to stick with things that make sense. And when you start screwing around with trying to just win the argument rather than, you know, having an honest discussion, that's where you start to really lose people. That's where he's really started to lose me. I can't see anything out of that other mirror over there on the nose to the right. So let's get the hood right mirror. We'll move that back over this way so I can actually see the truck, because it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. I have to say the view, the way that this truck is kind of laid out is just really awkward. You can't even really see the hood mirrors from here. I would have to lift my point of view up to be able to see that. And I guess we can do that. Oops, wrong button. I guess we can do that. I guess we can try. I don't know. I really don't want to lift myself up at all. I don't know. I feel like if I lift myself up, it's really going to screw with my view. But I don't know. I might have to, just to be able to see what's going on. Okay, I almost ran into the guy there. I'm really hoping that my software is not pausing in the middle of me talking. I'm going to move the microphone a little bit closer just to make sure that that's not accidentally happening. There's no way for me to tell unless I just constantly monitor the pause button to see if it's pausing on me, but I don't know, I get a little bit nervous because I look over when I finish talking and it looks like it's already paused. So hopefully you guys aren't getting a bunch of cutoffs while I'm doing this. Let's check the route advisor. We're at 170 miles. If we can get through this and these guys hurry up and finish their damn weigh-ins, we can get out of here, get back on the road and finish this load, but everybody's taking their sweet time getting through the damn scales. Come on. This is the part of the realism that I'm just like, can we zip past this place? Waiting in line for a virtual scale is just not fun in the slightest, not even a little bit. All right, we got our gross weight, 60,000 pounds. That's even less than the last load that we did. So yeah, we need to get back on the road. We need to get back up to speed. We need to eat up some miles, get this load delivered so that we can be done for the day, because got places to be and things to do, and I have something I need to start pretty soon. So we need to get this load finished quickly. So yeah, I was watching that episode, and it was infuriating me watching the entire thing, because I don't really know Dave Smith that well. I've seen him on Joe Rogan, I think, once before, and so I don't really know too much about him. But from what I saw in that particular podcast, I don't know. To me, it seemed like a bloodbath in one direction, mostly just because had Douglas Murray stuck with being rational and reasonable, the things that he said might have carried more weight, but they just didn't, because the tactics that he chose were just like, you're turning me off real hard with that crap, man. I don't. First and foremost, you don't get to decide who gets to talk about things. That's just not how free society works. And to suggest that people shouldn't be talking about things because they're not an expert that's one of the most asinine things I've ever heard in my life. The only way you find out what people think is if they talk about it. So trying to tell people that they shouldn't be talking about this or talking about that because they might be pushing a false narrative, it's like, well, yeah, they need to say what they think so that they can potentially be corrected. If you tell people that they shouldn't say things because they don't know anything about the subject, how are they going to learn? How are they going to learn about anything if they don't put their stuff out there and have people that come along and correct them? Like, I don't understand this censorship of any kind, unless it's something like yelling fire in a crowded building or something like that. Obviously, there are certain things that we all agree need to be not okay. Like, you don't want to see anything that you say or do that's going to have a high risk, like a high imminent risk of causing harm. Obviously, yelling fire in a crowded theater is going to cause people to run and get all crazy. Like things like that have an extremely high risk of causing imminent problems. Obviously, those things need to be, outlawed. But to tell people that they're not allowed to talk about a subject because you don't qualify to talk about that, like, shut up. The moment you open your mouth and say that, you lose any credibility at all with me. I don't care what credentials you have. I don't care how much experience you have. The moment that you put yourself in a position where you believe that you're so much better than everybody else that you get to decide what is what, like, nah, you're done, dude. I'm done with you. You're finished completely. I'm done. I'm just done. So, he started off the episode trying to tell Joe Rogan that he should be more careful about who he has on his podcast, and I'm just like, what? What? That's not what he does. He just talks to people he wants to talk to, and you don't have to like that, but you don't get to come in and tell him that he needs to not bring certain people on because you think that they're bad for the public discourse. Like, no, those people need to be brought on so that we can hear what they have to say and decide for ourselves if what they say makes sense. The proper way to deal with people who are putting out bad information is to put out good information. That's the right way to do it. And you don't make any, because what I said in the video, what happens is that when you start shutting people down and making them you try to prevent them from putting their ideas out into the world, what ends up happening is that they stop engaging with the people they should be engaging in. They go off and they talk to their own kind of people, and that's how echo chambers get started. It's because they're not able to have a reasonable discourse where you have a rational discussion with them and gently explain to them why their position doesn't make sense. No, you shun them, you make them feel like crap, and then because they have an emotional defense mechanism that makes them not want to deal with you anymore, they go and they create their own thing, and then they end up doing their own thing. That becomes an echo chamber, and then you wonder why these things become what they're. No, you need to have people with extreme ideologies saying what they want to say, and then you put out your rational argument against it so that people can see both sides of the argument and make their own decision. Because when people feel like they're making their own decision about a subject, they don't feel like they're being propagandized into going along with a certain narrative, then they're going to be much more entrenched in that. And you want your idea to have as much of a chance of being the thing that people settle on as these crazy things that people come up with. And that's not going to happen if you push all the crazy stuff to the side. No, that crazy stuff needs to be out there in the middle, and everybody needs to be wading in and, arguing against it in a reasonable way, so that people like me who hate it when people try to shut people down don't get turned off by your point of view, even though yours might be the better one. That's just how people work. And I don't know. I know that this is a gaming channel, and probably shouldn't be talking about this kind of stuff on here, but we had 400 miles that we needed to get done, and I needed to fill the time. So we're down to 73 miles at this point. We're going to exit the free. We're wanting to interchange to get on. I can't read what we're getting on. It looks like it's a 40. So we're going to be getting on the 40 here in just a second. The 40 west, I'm guessing, because we're heading south and going to the right. Get this load dropped off, and that'll be another one for the books as we start to work towards whatever the next truck we're going to get. I do believe that there are only 2 Western Star trucks in the game, so after this truck we got to pick a new brand to go after. I'm guessing we might do the Peterbilts. I'm not a fan of the Peterbilt trucks because I don't like that big the divider in the middle of the windshield. Same way I don't like this thing that sticks down in the Western Star trucks. I don't like the windshield being cut in half by whatever that stanchion is, or divider, or whatever it is that goes straight down the middle. I don't find that visually appealing. I don't like things that block my field of view. Like even the stanchion over here on the left side here is just like I really wish that was smaller. And then adding another thing in the middle of my windshield that makes it even harder to see out in front of me is like, not a big fan of that. Would really prefer if they didn't do that. Now, I've seen newer Peterbilt trucks in the real world, and I don't think I've seen the center divider in the windshield, but the ones in the game here, because they're Peterbilts, do have that. So, or at least the last time I checked. I don't know. They might not now, but they did the last time I bought a Peterbilt truck. I don't know. We'll see. We might go ahead and just get that out of the way and then move on to another brand after the Peterbilts. I think there's 3 different Peterbilts, though. Maybe 2. I don't remember. I know there were 3 international trucks, and one of the international trucks you could only get on the used market because it was an older truck. So when I checked the used market for the Western Star trucks, it only had the 2 models that were available in the dealership as well. So I'm assuming that it's just the 2 trucks here. I could look up a list and try to, find out exactly what it is. I might do that, but for now, I'm thinking we might do Peterbilt next, just to kind of get that brand out of the way. Kenworth and Peterbilt are basically the same truck, except that Peterbilt decided to put a big divider in their windshield, and that just bugs the hell out of me. I just don't like it. That's personal preference. It's the way it works. Okay, the speed limit is popping down to 70, but we are at our exit. That should be taking us right to our delivery. So let's get off of the freeway here, and we'll hang a right up there at the turn. All right, everybody, welcome to Clinton, Oklahoma. Speed limit here is 45. I'll try to remember to hold on to that. As a matter of fact, we'll just set the cruise control so that I can't screw that up. Drops down to 35. Our destination is ahead on the left. It is currently 7:01 in the evening, and I'm not sure what this bus is doing. This bus is doing some kind of really dumb, stupid stuff, but that's all right. We just need to hurry up and get up here, get this bus dropped off, and then that'll be it for the day. So got a United States flag plus whatever, I can't tell in the shade what that flag is. It is I don't know, I can't make it out. Speed limit's dropping down to 25 now. Blah. That's not fun. But yeah, let's try to get up here. The speed limit backed up to 35 right before we got here to make our turn. So we ended up having to do 25 all the way here, but then the speed limit pops up. So ain't that always the way? Where is our drop off? Don't think it's on this side of the building. I think it might be over here. I probably should have went around the other side because I can see a trailer. I saw a trailer kind of sticking out right there. And where is our drop off? Not sure where our drop off is. We'll swing around like this and come on, get into gear, please. Come on, get into gear. You can do it. We'll swing around wide and try to. Oh, it's in here. Okay. So what we'll do then is we'll pull into this parking space here and then try to get that backed in. Was it? I don't know. Was that? Are we supposed to back it in there? I don't know. Let me hop out of the truck really quick and take a look. Is it? Yeah, we're backing it in there. All right, cool. So let me straighten out a little bit more so we can have a better chance of getting this right the first time. And then, come on. Why am I stuck? Why am I stuck? Why am I stuck? Oh, crap. Stuck. I am stuck. Okay, I think I fixed it by forcing, like by getting some momentum and getting that out of there. That was a little bit nerve-wracking. Not a fan of blindly going into the space this way, but yeah, like, because I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. I'm not a fan of pulling in from this direction, but even if we had pulled around to the other side, I don't think we would have been able to make that work because the way the parking is here is just not enough room, I don't think. Let's take a second and take a look back here. I'm hoping I can just kind of do... Oh, we're not even going into the right spot. Well, there's always that. Let's pull over this way then and try to get a better angle at it then, because that's annoying. Not sure that we're going to be able to get this load in like this. All right, we're going to do this from the external view here because I need to be able to see what I'm doing, and constantly switching back and forth is going to be a massive pain in the butt. So we're just going to do this from this. Oh, there's just no room for me. There's just no room for me to do anything. Right, like that. That should be enough now. So let's do that. Try to get this to work the way we need it to work. Come on, you can do it. Not a big fan of this working the way that it does. So the way that it works when you're backing things, you're just driving the thing that you're driving, and the truck just moves the way the truck moves. So just try to drive whatever it is that you're backing as if you were driving it directly. All right, anyway, that's going to go ahead and do it for today's episode. Hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Join as a member for early access to videos, among other perks. Or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. Also have PayPal and Patreon links in the description if you prefer to go that route. So be sure to check those out. Again, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to come back for our next load, and I'll see you then.